What's up everyone, this is Sam from 64 Wheels, back more diecast, and today we're going to do one of my favorite unboxing videos of the year. This is where we unbox and review all the new for 2024 Hot Wheels original castings, otherwise known as fantasy castings. So I feel like fantasy castings get a bad rap in the collector universe, but I've always said that collectors collect license and people who actually play Hot Wheels love fantasy castings, and that's true today. I think if you enjoy using your imagination, playing on a diorama, rolling them on your couch, and just pretending to play Hot Wheels, these castings are made for you. And they're also made for people that really enjoy good design, because these original castings are where the Hot Wheels designers really get to let their imagination and design talent show. Some of these castings could be real cars in real life. They have beautiful design. Some are just so outrageous they could never exist, but that's the fun of playing and collecting Hot Wheels, is these original castings. I just absolutely love these, and there are some fantastic fantasy castings this year. So there's roughly 30 cars here, I think 28 to be exact. I think I have them all, the recolors, the first releases, and I have them set up in the number that they were released all the way to the end. So I'm starting with car 26 and then it ends with car 247. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to unbox them. We'll take a look at each of them, look at some of the design elements, and then kind of give them a little ranking, or, you know, say whether I like them or not. And then this will actually be a companion video to the wrap up end of the year article over on Lamley Group, which I will actually tag the article in the video description when I get done writing that. And then this will also be tagged in the article, so if you're seeing vice versa, you can see either one. So I'm really excited about this because there are some really killer castings. So I'm just going to go in order and we'll unbox them and just have fun with it. So for this year, a lot of the fantasy castings right off the bat, you'll notice, say available on Netflix, Let's Race. So a lot of these cars are companion cars to the Let's Race, like animated, or I guess it's like I guess you still call it animated if it's drawn on the computer or whatever. But the series over on Netflix that has really been a pretty big hit from what I understand. My nephew watches just the absolute heck out of it. Some other kids that I know, they like it. And Hot Wheels has got a lot of the branding on these cars, which is cool because I like to see Hot Wheels thrive in all elements, because you need TV shows, video games, and stuff like that to have kids kind of like connect with the brand, or even adults in other ways. Like I really like the ID line. I hope they bring that back with the game. Super cool, but that's kind of another story. So you'll see on a lot of these, they have that Let's Race graphic on them, and it's kind of cool. And you can also tell if you're looking for fantasy casting, it's probably going to have this on it, so you can kind of if you're like wanting to collect recolors or whatever else, that'll be on here. So I've tried to put them in order in the color that they were released first. I probably mixed some of them up because I knocked them over and stuff, but we'll go through the first one. So the first one is Punk Rod. So there you can see there, it's a very almost like cyberpunk looking GT car, like that would compete with like a CAR or a Ferrari Challenge car. It just looks awesome. So we'll read the back of them and then we'll unbox both of them and take a look. So there it is right there, born 2023. The modern day supercar is here, and it's a hot rodded masterpiece. Features a V8 powered mid-engine Mohawk intake and a carbon fiber Aero with a swan neck rear wing. Wild. So let's go ahead and unbox this little guy. Again, card art is great. These are all mainline prices. Here it is in the recolor as well. I think the actual orange looks pretty good on the lights. Sometimes I don't like orange windows, but I think these look pretty good. So the first one that came out, if I'm thinking right, was the black one, and then we got the like moody blue one as the re-release. So let's go ahead and look at this one. I think this car looks really mean in black. Again, Hot Wheels designers take a lot of elements of real cars and then put them into the fantasy castings, because obviously, you know, you see inspiration in real life and other Hot Wheels cars you're working on designing, and put some of those elements in there. So I definitely see probably some Corvette CAR, maybe some Lamborghini in that body line. Now, fantasy castings, again, that's where you get to use stuff that may not be as realistic, but that work in the world of fantasy. So that orange engine insert with the windows there and the lights looks great on this casting. Yes, is it as realistic to have a glowing orange engine? No, but this is a pretend car. This is where you can be anything you want to be. So if you want to have a bright orange engine on this insane looking car, that's the place to have it. So I like the mismatched wheels. It got the Aero disc. And like, I can't remember what those are called, like the 5 hole wheels out back. But I mean, there's some good detail on this. Huge front spoiler. The interior looks pretty good. And I was reading online about this casting, and someone said that they actually used the same or very similar insert as the actual CAR casting. So I'll be interested in seeing if that's actually true. I don't have a CAR here in this video to compare it with, but that's a pretty cool feature. So looks very good in black. And then you have another recolor here with almost the same everything. So we have a more orangish wheel on the back in the first release, and then you have a actual, like, I don't know what you would call that. I will call this more copper and this gold. Same Aero disc on the front, same orange insert, same plastic chassis with the metal body up here. But this is a cool color because probably for the past, 5 or 6 years maybe, they've released a fantasy casting in this same color. So if you're collecting these, now you have another one to go along with it. And it looks great. It's such a good color too. And this car looks, I mean, I don't know. I think if I was going to pick one, man, I think the black one for me looks pretty cool. I would probably go with it over the blue, but the blue looks spectacular itself. So as we go along, definitely make mental notes to yourself which ones you like better. And let me know down in the comments, because it's hard to pick with some of these because some of the colors show off the body lines better. Some of them make them look more realistic. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys have to say about some of them. So there we go, the Punk Rod. The first one, we're off to a great start. Now the next one, the Drift and Brake. This is a really cool one because it builds off another fantasy casting, the Fast Fish, which is built off of a kind of like a futuristic looking Plymouth AAR Cuda, which was back in the 70s, the Barracuda, which is why it was called Fast Fish. And I think, does it actually say on the back of here? It does. So part wagon, part coupe, all performance. Get behind the wheel and drift your cargo with style in this V8 powered muscle car that's a shooting brake version of the legendary Fast Fish. Now, a couple of videos ago, I unboxed the shooting brake Mercedes, and someone gave me a good tip, and that a shooting brake is not a traditional wagon car. It's like a either a sedan or a coupe that has been turned into a wagon, where wagons kind of have their own style. I'm probably not explaining it the best, but these castings look awesome. So the first color, I believe, was a purple, and then it got this recolor in green, which if you're a Mopar fan from the 70s, this would probably be Plum Crazy and Sublime Green, I think is how you say that. Colors that were Mopar colors and current Mopar colors, or kind of current-ish, on the Charger Challenger model. So these are really cool, and I absolutely love this purple one here. So let's go ahead and bust this one open. Now, we never got a Cuda or a Barracuda wagon or shooting brake of any type, but I actually think these cars pull it off well. So really nice design here. You can see the V8 through the hood, and that is a very Hemi shaker-ish looking scoop there. And you also have the very Cuda-ish AAR, or what do you call those, hockey stick stripes on the side in flat black. But this car looks awesome. So I'm not the biggest fan of these wheels, but when you roll it, they look good. So these cars are also meant to go on the track. A lot of fantasy castings sometimes will have that little loop on the bottom to say, hey, like, it's for track. I don't think the Punk Rod has that. No, it doesn't. But this one looks great. This is another one of those that could be like a SEMA build of an actual old Cuda or a Challenger or something like that. But look at this design, how sleek that looks, how good that looks in purple. And I like how they have the roof scoop. Looks like another Hemi hood scoop as well. So you got a chrome interior. You can probably see some more detail, but it's really hard to see it in here with the lighting. Big exhaust outbacks, just a very mean looking muscle car shooting brake that looks killer in that color. So probably can see some of the detail a little better here with the green. Let's check this out. Yeah, it's a little brighter out back there, but this looks so good. Definitely see those very Mopar-ish stripes going down the side a little bit better on the green, and the car's detail just a little bit better. But man, that looks great. Huge fan of this casting. This will go awesome with the Fast Fish. And obviously it's named after Fast Fish because Barracuda is a fish. And if you collect Fast Fish casting, they had an awesome AAR Cuda Dan Gurney knockoff in like 2009 or 10. That was a mystery car. Absolutely fantastic. But these look great. I think this is a great version of this. I don't think this is milking a fantasy casting in any way. I think they did a totally new design. It looks great. This will go along excellent. I love when they build on previous released fantasy castings. We'll see that a few times in here. There's a couple more that look really, really good, but this earns really high marks. I think this is an excellent casting. So again, off to a great start. So speaking of Let's Race, so if you are a fan of that show or have seen it or your kid watches it or whatever, you will probably recognize this one, the Hot Wheels Ultimate T-Rex Transporter, which is featured in the show. And I believe this is the first time that a larger scale Hot Wheel like this transporter, that a transporter has been turned into a Hot Wheel, where usually it's like a semi-truck that's turned into a transporter. We're getting like the opposite in this. So this is really cool. I think it's just blue in the show. I don't know if it's red. I haven't watched that far. I've watched a few episodes of it, but I can't recall. So if you've watched it all, let me know. But this is really cool. So let's read the back of it real quick. Modified after the Hot Wheels Ultimate T-Rex Transporter, this Dino-mobile is roaring and ready to go. Buckle up and speed through your favorite Hot Wheels City playsets with extreme velocity and ferocity. Whoop! The card art on that is awesome. So I thought about buying one of these big transporters. That's like one of the things I still need to get. I think they have disappeared from stores. Like they kind of came, probably last year. Because I don't remember seeing them in the store this year. But this is pretty cool. Like I said, this is, I think, the first time that a transporter has been turned into a Hot Wheel rather than vice versa. So you can see there, that's where you could actually store some extra Hot Wheels right there in the side. I think it opened up and you could store more in it. And then there was some sort of track thing to go along with it, like accessory. I will put an overlay of the actual transporter here, so you can see it, but this is pretty cool. Hot Wheels has done this a few times where they've put like fake wheels made out of plastic to look like there's a third wheel. What was the RV There Yet uses one of those, and there's a couple other ones. But this is pretty cool. If you're into dinosaurs or if you're into that cartoon, this is a cool one to pick up. This also has a metal chassis, plastic body. So usually those go pretty well on the track too. So this is a very fantasy looking casting. So our typical Hot Wheel collector is probably going to go after this? No. But people that like animal castings or have seen that show or a fan of just Hot Wheels design in general are going to go after these. But I really like the blue one. I don't know. What do you like better, the blue or the red? I think the blue is more true to the show that I saw. So I like the blue one better. But the red doesn't look bad at all. We'll have to see if we get some more dinosaur-ish looking releases. Like we could definitely see this one getting released in green or brown, like a real dinosaur color. So all right, let's see where we going here. Okay, 73 right here. This is one of a Xperi Motors cars, which if you're familiar with those, they actually like have a feature to them, which is why it says special feature. I'm not just talking like a design element. It turns into something. And this one turns into a fake mustache. Like, how cool is that? So we'll go ahead and read it. Cross the intersection of automotive and face fashion with a speedy stash that's setting new records for speed and style. This Land Speed Special is an open-top two-seater with extra long side exhaust and a hidden flick mustache. Absolutely awesome. This is a casting that I saw. It was actually on the Lamley preview video that they did the slideshow at one of the Hot Wheels conventions. And I was like, that is one of the coolest fantasy castings of the year. I didn't even have it then, but I'm like, that's so cool. So it was released in this cool maroon color, and then a second release of a kind of like a flip-flop color where it is in the gray. So it is a Land Speed style car, probably from, back probably in the 30s. It looks good. It would be cool if they actually added the driver, but check that out. The driver has the mustache. I wish he would have been sitting there, but I'm sure that design was probably hard, especially when you don't get a lot of moving parts on main lines nowadays. Usually, if you do, you get them on fantasy casting. So let's look at this car, the Incredible Mustache Special. What does that say? Faulty free. 43. That is so cool. Like, just as a casting itself, it looks pretty good. As like kind of like a Land Speed or just like a 30s race car. It looks decent. But it has that hidden mustache. So let's go ahead. Whoop, look at that. Is that not super cool? So you can put it like that if you want a mustache that's going up, or put it like that to go down. I think the nose goes right here. Your nose goes right there. So that would technically go down that way. But man, is that not hilarious? Like, that's so funny. Like this, the money clip car. What are the other ones that do stuff? Tooligan with the little tool. You have so many of these cars. Like, this is so cool. Hot Wheels didn't have to do anything cool like this, but they did. They took an awesome element, something fun that a kid or an adult would remember. Like, this is a car that you could get an adult or a kid and they would just have a blast with it. So another thing I love about fantasy casting is that they get people into Hot Wheels that may necessarily not get Hot Wheels as a gift normally. Like, if you have just like a fun person in your family who likes to joke around, or someone that has a great mustache, get them this and be like, check this out, Hot Wheels makes this. And they were like, they will probably not know that this car exists, and that could end up to them telling other people about this Hot Wheel, and then they might go out and collect it and they buy fantasy castings that way. Because I know, especially if you think fantasy castings linger in your area, that's a good way to start to clear some of those pegs or give them as gifts. I love giving fantasy castings as gifts because they have a lot of good food ones and other cars like this that are just incredible. So even as a Hot Wheels design itself looks great, but when you add that extra mustache element in there, that is just absolutely killer. I love that. 10 out of 10 fantasy casting right there. So one of my favorites of the year right here, I absolutely love this casting. Flippin Fast. It is a fidget spinner. So you'll see some other branding on this one, and this is also a Celebration Racers, which celebrates something usually like a organization or something during the year, like the Chinese New Year or Valentine's Day or leap year or something like that. This year, we got the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network 20th anniversary of that, actually, in terms of a fidget spinner. So if you, I'm sure some of you either test on the spectrum, have autism, Asperger. I myself test on the spectrum. I had Tourette's and a lot of other ADD problems growing up. They some have gone away in adulthood, some have gotten much worse. But most people who have autism or ADD or test on the spectrum stim or fidget a lot. So Hot Wheels really nailed this, working with the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network to put a car like this into their lineup, which is absolutely awesome. Same thing last year with the Braille car, the twin mill. So good. I wasn't able to do a video on that last year because I was very busy around this time of year. Sadly wasn't able to do that. I might do it some other time, but this is awesome. I probably have 5 of these open, and I carry this car with me everywhere. There's one in my book bag, there's one at my computer desk, there's literally one in my pocket, there's one on my bedside stand. I take this car everywhere. I think there's one in my actual car because that way I don't have to leave it anywhere. If I forget one, I have it somewhere else. This is just an awesome car. So when we flip it over, flip it, spin it, drive it upside down. The speedy star of the track is one of the most versatile vehicles on the road and can be driven in so many ways for a truly soothing experience. So right there, it shows you that it does have a special feature. It is a fidget spinner. So I love that I will have another one of these open because I cannot have enough. So let's go ahead and open this one. This one actually has, it doesn't have that 20th anniversary logo on it, but it is a flip-flop color. This one is green over yellow. So here is the original one. I like this because this is how, I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but you hold it right here and just flip it like this. And I have done this, like I've probably put so many miles on my other one that the plastic is probably starting to wear out. But the cool thing is it's like almost like an Indy car or an open roadster type car. There you can see the individual injection stacks in the back. And so when it's flipped like this, you can see that the driver, it's actually a helmet. So no matter how you flip it, it's going that way. This one would probably be this way because you can see the visor is there. So they put a double element in there. Huge wheels, and when you flip it over, the same thing. So there you have a driver. Yeah, this one almost reminds me of like an IndyCar style or Formula One with that like kind of nose cone and a lower spoiler. So you get 2 cars out of this really, which remind me of some, oh man, I was just messaging with someone about the Majorette flip cars, and I think Hot Wheels had flip cars too, where you could flip them over and you could play them on the track, wreck them, and you could still drive them because no matter which way they went, they were always facing right side up. So absolutely awesome car. I love this car. Cannot say enough good things about this line. I really like this one with the full color Hot Wheels graphic there. The red and white looks great. Same thing on this side. You get a really awesome yellow and green looking car. This one, I don't like green and red together. It always reminds me of Christmas. So this is the one I have open a bunch of, but this orange and black looks absolutely awesome. So if you have a fidgeter or someone who's on the spectrum or someone that just likes the fidget in your life, this is an absolutely fantastic casting. 10 out of 10, again, for fantasy castings. Love that one. So next up, we have a more fantasy take. This is the animal take on another casting. So this is the Terra-Tracktyl, which shout out to Hot Wheels designers for the names. Just coming up with this stuff is a job in itself. But this one's pretty cool because it looks like a pterodactyl made into a car. There, I will put the little pterodactyl there so you can kind of see the profile. But when you flip it over, it says, "Let the engine roar and explore beyond the horizon in this premier off-road performance truck that also drives on the track. Racer stunt obstacles are no match for the Terra-Tracktyl." Boop, bakak. That's like the noise that, it's not a bakak, I can't even make it. But that noise that a pterodactyl makes. But this is pretty cool. So this is supposed to look like an animal. Now, there are several Hot Wheels castings that look like animals. Some are very, very fantasy, but this one actually doesn't look too bad. Like, this could actually be a truck. And I'd be like, hey, that truck looks like a pterodactyl. And they'd be like, boom, it is. Oh, but that's what it kind of looks like. Spare tire out back. And I think it's a reverse rake truck, right? No, this is a Hot Wheels track champion. So this one should have the track logo on the bottom right there that we were talking about earlier. Metal body, or a metal chassis, plastic body, which doesn't bother me. A lot of fantasy castings, because their design are plastic, and that doesn't really matter to me. But it's got a very, what is that, Viper GTS hood scoop on it. I like it. I like the design. It's got cool colors. It's pretty, I don't want to say it's basic, but it doesn't have a lot of frills, but it gets the job done. So first one, it came out in black, and then we got this awesome blue one. I actually think I prefer the blue one, just because I think the color pops on it a little bit better. But man, that looks absolutely killer. I really like the white wheels. And to me, especially from this angle or even this angle, it doesn't look like a fantasy casting. It just looks like some kind of off-road truck, which is probably what Hot Wheels was doing. So not only do we get a nice truck out of this, we get a double pterodactyl dinosaur design out of it. Cool. I don't know, which one do you like better? I'm definitely leaning towards the blue on that one. Love the blue. So cool. All right, so next up, 137, the Rapid Pulse. So this is a hybrid electric gas, I think it's both, ambulance. So Hot Wheels has done a lot of service vehicles like the Mailed It that we're going to be opening up next. Police cars, fire trucks, the drone truck, all kinds of trucks. And this is their take on an ambulance. So let's see here. So race to the rescue in this modern hybrid rapid response ambulance. The battery charges via solar panels on the roof, and it features a supercharged mid-engine big block plus electric motor. So this thing is a beast. And I really like the open top design because that lets you see more into the vehicle. And I think when you have fancy castings that have a lot of detail, having an open top is just extra cool. So there you can see it has a mid or a center driving position, which is really cool. There you can see some oxygen tanks, it looks like, or maybe even nitrous tanks for medical and racing purposes. You can see that mid-mounted V8 engine right there. There is a passenger. It looks like there's a person there grabbing something. I don't know what they're grabbing. Looks like they're holding a steering wheel, but there's some other elements in there too. And up here is the solar panel like the back of the card was talking about. You also have some fans either for the interior or for the batteries. This is a cool one. I like the design. I like the Hot Wheels, like, what do you call that? The cross symbol. I know it has a name for ambulances and stuff for medical. It's got a Hot Wheels grill logo, which is super cool. I mean, it's got little blue lights as part of the window there. I mean, this is awesome. Emergency. So this one does go on the track as well. It's got the little track logo. Metal chassis, that bright red chassis looks great on this. So, I mean, really, to me, it almost looks like a Ford super van. Kind of. It's kind of got that element to it. Almost like a Ford F-350 van, the Econoline or something. But man, that glass is actually pretty clear. did a nice job with that one. So the recolor was in red, so they basically flip-flopped, which I enjoy on fantasy castings. So this one has the more realistic, just plain Zamac bottom. Very bright, as you can see here, with a red body. It's got the same graphics overall on it. It's just usually they like flip-flop the colors. Very cool. You can see some of the elements a little better, though, in the red, but there you see, I mean, that's pretty clear. I know it's got some scratches on it, but for a $1 card, that's pretty good. So, and this is a tough one. I like the white because I always think of ambulances as white, but man, it looks good in that red with that silver bottom. It's a tough one for me. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know which one of those I like better, but very cool casting. Okay, next up. This is one of the most ingenious designs of the year. And this is cool because I always think that the food castings are stuff you can get or cars you can get for people who don't usually get Hot Wheels. So like this is something I would give to a family member, coworker, friend for their birthday, and I'd be like, hey, I got you the birthday cake Hot Wheel. And they'd be like, oh, this is cool. That's awesome. I didn't know they made one of these. And they would put it on their desk at work or, you know, open it up and put it on their counter at home. And it's a good way. They're going to think of you every time they look at that Hot Wheel, or they're going to get questions asked about it at work. Like, hey, what is that? Yep. And it could lead to other people buying Hot Wheels for their loved ones or coworkers or whatever. And it's so cool. So to me, you got both the boy and the girl version, or the sweet tooth version over here, which looks extra sugary. And then you have the traditional style cake over here. But it's cool because that has that Hot Wheels birthday logo up here. Not gonna lie, I bought probably 20 of these. I really like these. Fantasy castings don't seem to be selling, so no one cares if you buy 20 of them. But these are going to be given out next year as gifts for people's birthdays, so I'm really pumped about that. So let's flip the card over. Bakers, start your engines. Fully hot-rodded with an exposed engine, the supercharged slice of automotive ingenuity will have everyone craving the sweet taste of victory. So cool. I love these. I know food castings aren't everyone's thing, but come on, how cool is this? Like if you were a kid or something, you got this for your birthday, or even an adult, I'd be like, all right, that's pretty sweet. So obviously the body is a piece of cake. There you can see the various layers and the chocolate icing up on top. It's got the huge engine, and if you notice, there's extra elements. So just like I'm probably going to butcher the name, Cara di Asada, I can't remember. The taco car, I'm horrible at saying the names. It also had some extra elements on the base. In this one, you can actually see the fork that you would eat the cake with right there. And then you have a little piece bitten off, which is pretty cool. And then right here, you can see the classic design of a paper plate underneath the car. So how cool is that? So many design elements went into making a cake car. Even if you don't like fantasy castings, even if you could care less about food cars, the amount of design and elements used, like they used tampos to make layering of the cake. They use this as a plate. They use the red inner insert as the fork. I mean, that is just awesome. They just the design is so well. And they turned it into a car, which is pretty cool too. So I don't know if I've seen anyone do this, but right here, supposedly a candle can be put right here. So you can see that little part of the base. So you can set an actual candle in there. Now, I don't know how flammable this is. If it's flame retardant, it's probably not. It's plastic. It would probably start on fire. But it's cool. I think that is what that is for. But I love this car. Super cool. Oh, got a catastrophe over here. And I think these will probably do decent on track too. It looks like it should fit. It's normal width. So, and the proper name is the birthday burner. How cool is that? So we also got the pink version, which is pretty cool. Flavor-wise, this would probably be some sort of berry, I guess. And then you can kind of see more detail in the engine now that it's not chrome, that's not as reflective. But the chrome part on this one is the fork, which is pretty rad. So you get the little driver's head sticking out. You can see the plate element there. I mean, this is just so cool. So even though this one is definitely brighter and more party-y, I can't, like, to me, the colors on this one, the color combination of the red, blue, and the cake just is absolutely fantastic. So, again, another 10 out of 10. I love that. Love this first release. Is so cool. So one of my votes for like real car fantasy design of the year is this one. Nailed it. So this is a take on a hot rodded mail truck. Hot Wheels does a fantastic job. Again, whether it's an ambulance, a mail truck, police car, whatever, they do a great job at taking and putting that Hot Wheels design element on just a regular boring car. So this one also has the Let's Race, so that is awesome. If this is featured in the show, that is absolute killer because this is awesome. So there you can see a huge twin turbo engine sticking out of the hood there with a front mount intercooler, which is mimicked on the actual casting. So here on the back, it says, forget about the mail. The only thing this truck delivers is victory. Slammed to the ground and fitted with a race-inspired Aero kit, dual parachute braking system, and ferocious twin-turbo V8 with side exhaust that really roars. How awesome is that? I love the paint job on this. So I believe the first release was in blue, and then we got the white one, I think. So let's go ahead and unbox the blue one first. So this is a Hot Wheels art car. It is in the art car line, and there you can see it has a Y on the top because the art cars, if you line them all up like this, they spell a word or a saying. I'm not sure what the saying is for 2024 though. I don't think I probably have them all, but I don't know if I have them all opened. Very cool graffiti style art on the Y, and then you get an awesome graffiti style art on the side. So this is obviously supposed to be a Grumman LLV lifelong vehicle that the mail service is just now actually phasing out after what, like 20 or 30 years of use. You can see that classic kind of shape. Even here, the front and kind of looks like that, but the filler panel right there is a little different. But check out that big twin turbo V8. Got some good detail on it. Again, these are basic cars. $1, you can't expect crazy amounts of detail on it, but I think for $1, that looks pretty good. So get a huge wide body Aero kit on here. You can see the faux rivets everywhere. Loved the graphics on it. Mailed it. You got the little delivery dog on the side, which is just, I mean, delivery, the casting. Again, this is where Hot Wheels designers really get to show what they can do, turning a really boring car into something awesome. So there are some mail trucks online that have been hot rodded. I'm sure they took a little bit of design elements from that, design elements from other Hot Wheels, like Liberty Walk or Rocket Bunny wide body cars, RWBs and the like, and kind of slapped that on a mail truck, and it looks great. They did a fantastic job on this. So wheelie bar, parachutes. I like that it has a diamond plate on the bottom for that utilitarian look. Nailed it. Love that. Now it would be cool to maybe open up one of these castings and see what's inside. This one has a little bit clearer roof, so maybe we'll be able to see a little bit more detail. But if I had to pick, I would definitely, my favorite is the white one, the actual United States Postal Service, but this time you have the Hot Wheels Postal Service. It says always on time, kinda. Just so beautiful. Like the graphics are awesome, and I love that you get a little bit of the like smoke coming behind the dog as he's like speeding delivery. What does that say? What does that say? Maddie was here, and I think that's the designer, right? I'm so bad with the names and who designed cars, I can never remember that. But that's definitely a designer call out right there. But man, this looks great in white. So let's go ahead and see if we can see a little bit more detail. Looks like you have maybe the engine out back. I don't know what else. It's really hard to see through it. I might have to get another one and drill it out just to see what's in there. Because there is, it looks like additional detail in there. That's really hard to kind of see through the window there. If this wasn't there, if the letter wasn't on top, you could probably see. So maybe for 2025, if they put this in the main line, we'll get a better look at that, and then we'll have to do an unboxing of it in the future. But man, this is absolutely killer. This is definitely something you see at LS Fest, SEMA, Power Tour, anything like that. Anything hot rodded like this, I love. And Hot Wheels did a good job designing that one as well. So, all right, where are we at? 166. All right, well, I know this one's long, but we're taking an in-depth look at these. I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. So I don't do any mid-roll ads either, so we're watching this all the way through to the end. So Later Crater. This one is interesting because this is a Hot Wheels reverse rake. So rake is like the old term for stance, or the original term. So this car would have a standard rake where the back is up higher and the front end is down lower, just like the classic hot rod. Well, reverse rake would be almost what people know as the Carolina squat now, kind of how trophy trucks and Baja trucks sit, where the front end of the suspension is up higher than the rear end to go over bumps and things better. with this type of suspension. So really interesting card art. I like that. They did a good job. It almost looks like it's smiling at you, like it's a frog or something. But say later, Crater, as this reverse rake off-road super machine launches full speed across the dunes with maximum airtime. And yes, it lands with ease before speeding beyond the horizon. So to me, when it says crater, anything with the word crater, and I always think of the moon, I always think of lunar. So later, Crater, to me, this almost looks like a lunar vehicle. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be. I know they kind of call out a little on the back, but this is also one that did not get a recolor, as far as I know. Even research online, I could not find this in another color for 2024. So I think this is one that just got a single color, and it looks pretty cool. The aqua color, it's got to me, very space looking design and stripes on it. Later, Crater, like that almost looks like the NASA lettering. Metal chassis, again, this one's good for track as well. It's got that logo on it. It's a cool design. It definitely, to me, looks like a sort of Baja truck mixed with a lunar lander mixed with a GT car a little bit. A lot of different design elements on this one. I like it. This particular livery is not my favorite, but I look forward to seeing what they do with this casting in the future, because I think some NASA or some actual like space themed one would be really cool, or just a Hot Wheels race livery would look really good on this one too, I think. So it's got those big Aero disc wheels on it. Great design. I really like it. This one is definitely lean more towards fantasy, where I don't think one of this exact vehicle like exists, where like the mail truck kind of exists, the mustache car, a real car similar to that one exists, but I don't know a similar car to this that exists that looks exactly like this one. So very, very fresh design then. So where are we going? 168. All right, this one I think is another one that you can get people who aren't usually into Hot Wheels, or give them a gift of one. So you'll notice some things about this one. One, that they both have the choking hazard on them. That's because this front part right here is removable, but they are hot-rodded Zambonis. So there are two interesting elements to this one. So once we get them open, we'll talk about it more. But the card art is very funny because it's just like a block of a car there, but these are cool. So Rink Racer is its official name, and there you can see both special features. So yes, this is a Hot Wheels ride-on, and as you can see, it is meant to have a Lego guy, a minifig, ride on the back, and then this front part comes off. So I'll be interested in seeing what is underneath that front part, because I don't know what detail it is. But it says, don't wait for the whistle, because this ice resurfacer will go coast to coast in the blink of an eye. But watch out, the referee may throw you in the penalty box with a 5-minute major for speeding. So a lot of hockey references on that one. So if you're a hockey fan, coast to coast usually means like all the way across the rink. If I've watched enough hockey, penalty box, 5-minute major, that would be a 5-minute warning, of course. So it's cool that they put a lot of hockey references on there. And it's not called a Zamboni on this because that is a brand name. So a lot of people, just like Kleenex or Elevator even, are actual names of companies. Zamboni is the name of the company that makes this, so they had to go with Rink Racer, or Ice Resurfacer rather, the Zamboni. So this is really cool. I don't have one of these open yet. I've been waiting to open this one. It came in a recolor. It came in this recolor in a very awesome looking green. Big fan of this green too. I think, most Zambonis I've seen, I think, are blue or white. And I don't know, I haven't been to a ton of hockey games like our semi-local. I mean, we have a team, what is it? The Blue Jackets in Columbus. I think we have Cincinnati Cyclones. And then I know up in Dayton, they used to have the Bombers, and we would go to those hockey games every once in a while. But it's been years since I've been to a hockey game. But these are cool. So does this have a track design? This one, oh my gosh, look at that huge, good Lord, look at that. That huge rear overhang, those ground effects. But that's probably to hold this. So this is where the guy, you would clip his hands, the little circle hands would clip right there, and then right here as well if you wanted to. So that's where the character kind of comes in, the figure clipping. But the car itself is pretty basic. I mean, it's a Zamboni. They don't really have a lot of detail. So I don't know if I'm missing any details up here, but let's see how this comes off. Oh, look at that. So what can you put in there? Can you put like accessories? Does it say you're supposed to put anything in there? I don't know. What would you put in there? Water? I don't think it actually comes out, does it? No, because there's no hole in it. So I guess it's just, I assume that's where you put water in a real one and then it kind of re-ices it, I guess. I don't know. I've never seen the guts of a Zamboni, so I don't know. If you have, let me know in the comments. But this is a fun casting. It's, I've seen a ton of them on pegs, probably because it's not something people need a 10 of. Like the birthday cake one, I do need 10 of, like to give it away. This one, I don't think you need 10 of unless you're a huge hockey fan and want to give it away to other hockey fans. But it's a cool design, especially if you're into Legos or even, what are their Mega Blocks? I think their people have the same kind of hinged hands. So cool design. I don't think it's one of my top ones for the year, but it is a cool design. So let's go 187. This one has a lot of great detail. So again, I know this one runs long, but we're going over almost 30 cars in depth. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me, and let me know what you think of these in the comments, especially as we go through and something spawns a thought or you spot a detail I missed. Let me know in the comments for sure. So this one is really interesting. This has very big card art. Again, it's got that "Let's Race" call out on it. This is, forgive me for, I'm going to mispronounce this. Kowloon'd Hypervan. So I know Kowloon is, or Kowloon, I think is how you say it, is a city, right, in Hong Kong. And this is supposed to be a Hong Kong public transit minibus, a 16 passenger, right? 16 seats, so what, 34 passengers or whatever, 2 people to a seat. I don't know. I'm not familiar with this type of van. Very cool though. I like the design, hot rodded of course. So when we flip it over, it says quickly take your seat because the driver's about to floor it. With the tuned up engine, the speedy van is the fastest way to transport passengers from point A to point B in Hong Kong. So it is definitely supposed to be a Hong Kong metro bus, and there's some really cool detail on this one. All right. Let's go ahead and see this. So first off, you'll notice it's a hot rod van or bus. Of course, Hot Wheels does great versions, just like the mail truck, really good versions of hot rodding regular mundane stuff. So a lot of great graphics on this one. Let's see, no step. So it's got the Kowloon'd Hypervan on it. You'll see that is actual, I believe that's the name. I'm probably going to butcher it, so forgive me if I'm wrong. Either like I think it's the Chinese state that Kowloon is in, right? Or I know in Japan they call them like prefectures, but I don't know what they call them in China. But that's the actual one that the Hong Kong design team for Hot Wheels, that's where the actual office is that place. So I'm not even going to try to say it because I will butcher it, but that it's very cool that it's on there. And then these right here are the names of the design team for Hot Wheels Hong Kong. So that is really cool that they got their names on an actual Hot Wheel, because not everybody does. The designers do sometimes, and sometimes like special people involved, but it's cool to see the names of what I think is all of them on the top. So that is, they're famous forever. They're cemented in the history of Hot Wheels design with this Hypervan, and it looks, I mean, it's a great one to be on. So you can see a little bit of detail. It's got that open door so you can kind of see it. It's got some seats inside. So it looks like these seats are the same color. I believe this whole inner piece right here is the seats, the lower part of the lights, and then you have the upper part of the glass, which is here, and then the metal part is actually the roof on this one, which is kind of crazy. It's got a plastic chassis, so the metal is the roof. So it's almost the opposite of a lot of the fantasy castings that have a metal-based plastic body. So a lot of good detail on this one. I already have the re-release or the recolor for 2025. It's in red, and it looks spectacular. So if you're into collecting buses or into Asian culture, Chinese, Hong Kong, anything like that, that will definitely be a good one to collect. Or if you're into any Hot Wheels history or collecting the designer stuff, that's an awesome one too. You know, just an awesome version of this bus. Like, this looks killer. It's got great detail on it. Even if you don't like fantasy castings, how do you not love this? Like, this, just the design they put on this, the colors and everything look great. So again, another stellar job by the Hot Wheels design team. And we are coming up on the last 5 releases. So there's some real good ones in here too. So 189, this is the Dwagon, I guess is how you pronounce that. So you'll first off see some design elements. If you're familiar with Travis Pastrana's Family Huckster, which is his, I will put a screenshot of it up here. That's his like Hoonigan drifting kind of just crazy, whatever you want to call it, gymkhana type vehicle, which has active Aero braking flaps. So they've kind of incorporated some of that design, which also other race cars and things have it, into this wagon, but it's very similar to that. This was the first color. I had pink and gray, which I love. And then you have a little bit more realistic looking black over gray, which is, I mean, looks great too. Cool card art. So let's go ahead and flip this over and read it. Skip the carpool lane and head straight for the track in this rally-inspired race wagon. It features innovative air brake flaps that enhance aerodynamics for an effective air brake system during high-speed maneuvers. Very cool, just like the family Huckster. And if you haven't seen the video of him like driving it at Travis Pastrana driving it at like Goodwood or anything, oh my gosh, you definitely got to Google that because it's so cool to watch it, especially with those active Aero flaps that pop up. So I really like this. I prefer the gray one and the pink just because I like bright colors like that, especially on real cars. I think pink looks cool. Just, I like the gray color. I like that, like, almost like, what do you call that? Like Nardo gray style. The black looks great too, though. As you can see, it's a lot of design elements. There's a lot of stuff in the interior of this one that's a little hard to see because the windows are colored. Hopefully, we'll get it in a kind of like a clear window, but I don't know because then if you get a clear window, all this stuff is clear too. So I don't know if we will see that, but at least on the yellow one, you can see that there are some elements in the back that are, but they're kind of hard to pick out what they are. It looks like a fuel cell, maybe. I don't know what else, though. But it does have a detailed interior. This casting looks great. I don't know what the base model would be, or kind of the element. I don't know. Would you say Audi wagon? I don't know. What would you say if you had to guess what this looked to the closest in real life? What would you say? I'm not sure, but man, it's got some great design elements. And this is one, if you're into playing with Hot Wheels, that is going to be awesome to play with because you can drift it, you can rally it, you can drive it around your town. It's got those little flaps you can pretend with. I mean, this is just a fun car to play with. It's a fun car to hold. It has a ton of great elements on it. You can tandem drift them like this. You can play your own like little Goodwood or Gymkhana, whatever you want to do with these. But that, man, the graphics look cool. I'm excited to see what they do with this casting in the future. And I'm not against turning mainline fantasy castings into premiums. And this is one I would love to see premium. Even though I think the plastic tires are more for playing, I think they could really do some cool stuff with this one in premium. But man, this is one of my tough ones. Like, how do you pick a favorite of the year? Because you have so many good ones. But this one looks great. Again, metal chassis, plastic body, just some great design this year. All right, next up, the Revenger, yeah, ST, the Revenger ST. This one is another one that reminds me of the Fast Fish design. So that one was a Plymouth. This one more so reminds me of some Charger elements, so some Dodge. So I get a little bit of probably 69 Charger with some maybe even some Plymouth Sebring mixed in, the Roadrunner. But I lean more towards Dodge on this one, especially with the split grille. It's got a little bit of junk on it. But this one is a plastic body, metal chassis. Again, if you play Hot Wheels, this is going to be a fun one. Muscle cars. Oh, I forgot to read the back, didn't I? Oh, I got to read the back. Okay. Take the corner and speed through the loop in this modern-day muscle car. Heavily influenced by 70s design styles, it's specifically built to race the iconic orange track and overcome any challenge. So definitely meant to go on the track, even though this one doesn't even have the track logo on the bottom, which I feel is a little bit of a miss there. Those 5-spoke FTE-style wheels, plastic body with kind of muscle car-y looking graphics, almost like a little bit of AAR, a little bit of almost like that's like the Boss Mustang stripe down there a little bit. I don't know. Do you think that looks like a Mustang? Maybe a little bit back here, but it also looks like a Challenger a little bit, like almost like the Dixie Challenger style fastback right there. The back, I don't know. The back, I'm leaning towards Mustang as well, especially like 6970 Mustang. Got a exposed metal element there, which is interesting. So I like this casting. Again, if you're into playing Hot Wheels, this is going to be a fun one to drive around town. to rip around town, and just because it looks like it could be real. And this also reminds me of the Fast and the Furious. Oh man, what was that car? Tony's car? I totally can't remember what the name is right now. Just a great looking fantasy casting, and this reminds me of that too. So this will be all three of these really fun to play with. So next up, another food car. Again, if you have a foodie in your life, these are great for that. So this one is a sushi tuner. So we got a birthday cake and a piece of sushi new this year. This one, not my favorite, just because the element, it's just such an overtaking element. Just like the Zamboni, it's just very front heavy. So a lot of good elements on it though. So pass the wasabi because the sushi is running hot. Fueled by soy sauce, this tuner is about to jump from dinner table to track and win the race using its raw power and fresh speed. Get it, raw, because sushi. But I think, oh, that's kind of cool. Again, even if you don't like the car, it's got some good design elements that you got to appreciate Hot Wheels went to the trouble to make. So there you have a bed of rice, a little like fish looking shape here. You have 2 seats in there, which you can actually see. I thought just through the package that this would pop off and you could get a little bit more detail, especially because there's like a clip in the front. But then when I saw on the bottom, it's actually riveted, so it does not come off. So you got the rear engine there. Possibly, is that like a boxer engine or maybe even like an air-cooled engine out of a Porsche or VW or something? I think those right there on the side are like sushi tray for your sauces, I believe, right? I'm trying to think if there's any other elements in this that I'm missing, let me know. But I think that looks like the sushi tray that they serve sushi on. I'm not a big sushi eater, so I don't know a lot about it. But I do like the chopsticks and the Hot Wheels logo on that. That's pretty cool. So that's I don't know, it's a cool car. Again, it's not for everyone, but you got to appreciate the design element and work that went into turning a piece of sushi into a working rolling car. That, I mean, again, shout out to Hot Wheels. They do the unthinkable. So probably what is my pick for fantasy casting of the year, it's up 1 to 2 right here, is the small block. This thing is incredible. I saw this is another one with the mustache over here that I saw in the previews, and I was like, I have to have that one. So this, as you can see, has a wood-ish element to it because it's supposed to look like a Pinewood Derby car, and that is just super cool to me. I mean, just the imagination that Hot Wheels is using to make some of these castings is just top notch. So stay in the fast lane as the core DNA of Hot Wheels design merges lanes with the timeless appeal of vintage wood toys to deliver small block, a powerful muscle car stylized in a retro wooden aesthetic. So, did I say tune? Oh, I mean, it's perfect. This is a perfect example of a fantasy casting done well. I also like that they've done more of the drivers, just like, oh man, what are the other, I mean, even the flip car right here has a driver. There's several castings now with these little plastic helmet drivers in there that you can see. So it might be a little hard to see, but there are 2 helmets in there. There are 2 drivers in there, or a driver and a passenger, which is cool. So this all plastic. The bottom is metal, which is awesome because you can almost, like, if you've ever done a Pinewood Derby, you can put weights in them. So where they shoved the metal up and like press the engine out, you can almost put a little weight in there if you wanted and make this front heavy, which I think is kind of a cool element. Whether it's on purpose or not, I like that. So you can see the very basic block design with the exhaust. I mean, if you've raced Pinewood Derby, that's what this looks like. This is a Pinewood Derby car through and through. So a very plain looking engine that would be made out of lead. For your race, give it a little bit of front weight. Just a classic, nothing on the front or back, just a little bit of like black detail there to say this is a front, this is the back, which is part of the roof here, which is cool because it doesn't even have front elements like an A-pillar there. It's just like hanging over. So I think for 2025, we are getting a station wagon version of this, which will look amazing with this casting. I mean, I love the fact that they did the chrome wheels with the wood looking tires on it, like that same color. Just 10 out of 10 design, just imagination. This one's fun to play with. It's just something you wouldn't expect, but it's almost like a no-brainer. I'm like, why hasn't Hot Wheels done this before? But then at the same time, I'm like, I never thought of it. So shout out to Hot Wheels again for just going that next level, taking other pieces of our lives, whether it's hockey, a flip car, the cake, a mail truck, and turning it into something, into a Hot Wheel that now we can have it in our Hot Wheels town. So just an absolutely stellar design. I love that so, so much. So lastly, we have car 247 High Roller 2. So if you've collected Hot Wheels for a while, High Roller came out. It was more of a hot rodded two-door, very long, and a very similar paint scheme. I think it came out around 2015, 16. If I remember right, in a very similar color combo. So it's cool that we're getting another one. So this one, I think, is a new one this year, rolling metal, and they feature like bare metal. I think the Aston Martin Land Speed car was another one in this series, if I'm not mistaken, but it's very cool. So, let's go read the back first. The modern-day successor to the legendary High Roller is here. Featuring 2,001 horsepower at its core, this ultra-luxurious two-seat coupe is a vision of power and elegance that's made for rolling down the boulevard in style. So, to me, when I look at it, first thing I think of is a huge, like, two-door Rolls-Royce, almost like I don't think a Phantom is a two-door. It might be. Is it Spectre? Just one of those, like, Rolls or Bentleys, just the big body cars that are just so expensive, and when you see them like cruising down Hollywood Boulevard or see them parked outside like valet at a fancy restaurant, you're like, dang, like definitely living that High Roller life. So really nice blue paint job. This is like unfinished, like polished Zamac. It looks great. To me, that the back end definitely looks like a Rolls-Royce Phantom. It has that same kind of element there, but this part is all metal. So you get a plastic chassis with this, 3 rivets. Look at that. Not 1, not 2, but 3 rivets. So you get I think that's the plastic interior piece. What is that? Yeah, probably this plastic like the chassis. And then this, you get 2 for the metal, probably because it's a pretty top heavy. But it's cool because, yeah, this part is metal too. So the whole body is metal, but it's like metal here and then a metal insert, which is a cool design element. So look at that. Man, just a very elegant design. Again, it's kind of simple, but it elegantly gets the design idea across. So then when we look up close, you can see it's almost like a Gucci or a Louis Vuitton kind of style with the Hot Wheels logo and then a star in there. Really well done. It goes all the way down the side of the car. For 2025, this one is actually getting a Super Treasure Hunt version, which is pretty killer. I know fantasy castings as supers aren't always thrilling, but I think they did a really good job with this one. So that might be one I have to hunt down or at least try to trade for or something. And it almost looks like the hood ornament is the Hot Wheels logo. Does that look like that to you? Looks like that to me. Killer. I don't know what the holes are. I don't know if I'm missing something. Let me know if I'm missing something on that. Am I missing something? I don't know. It doesn't have does it have a design element on the back? No. I feel like I'm missing something with the hole in the front though. I don't know what that is. I know it has like portholes on the side. That one, the first one did too. I don't know what that one is supposed to be though. I'm not sure. But not a bad way to wrap out the year of fantasy castings right here. The High Roller 2. Very fancy. So what do you think? We just opened up, oh my gosh, what, 27 fantasy castings that range from everything to food, to fidget spinners, to woodblock cars, to zambonis, station wagons, other takes on fantasy castings, mail trucks, everything. What do you think? What was your favorite? Do you lean more towards the realistic cars, like the old Drift Wagon or the Revenger here? Or do you like to go crazy fantasy and go for the Terra-Tracktyl car or the T-Rex? What do you prefer? Or do you like a mix of all of them? I'm a huge fan of the cake car. If I had to say, my favorite designs, really all of them. But I think the Mustache as like a functional car is great. The flip car, again, that one I'll probably carry around for the rest of my life, legitimately. So that one's huge impact on me. That right there, the cake car, again, that'll be one that I give to people throughout the year. The mail truck, really like the white one, the wood block car. I will have a ton of fun playing with the Drift Wagon, the Revenger. I mean, all these, they're just so good. So I hope, even if you don't collect fantasy castings, that looking at some of these, seeing them open, seeing the design elements, at least gives you an appreciation for the Hot Wheels design team and the crazy work they do on cars. And I hope you do pick up some of these because that's the ultimate goal. Hot Wheels makes these so you can collect them and play with them, enjoy them. And that's what you want to do. Fantasy castings, there's no better way to do that than with the fantasy castings. I mean, you imagine sitting in a meeting at work, like I work from home, so I'm like on Zoom and I can do this. Like that's just awesome. I mean, these are just killer to me. So we had a pretty good year of fantasy castings. I'm really looking forward to 2025. So I really appreciate you sticking in there with me. We've basically been at this for an hour, went over all of them. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you collect fantasy castings? Which ones are your favorite? Did you buy any of these? What do you think of the wood design? I mean, just let me know your thoughts. I love talking to other collectors or people who play with fantasy castings or play Hot Wheels in general, because all of these are just so good. So I really appreciate you watching. This is Sam, 64 Wheels. I will have links down in the comments or the description to some of the other fantasy castings videos I've done over the years. And of course, I will link the article when I'm done with that as well. So I appreciate you watching and sticking in there with me. I hope you enjoyed it, and go out and buy some fantasy castings, gift some fantasy castings to people as presents. Give your local cake baker a Hot Wheel, take your donut card to the donut shop, do all those things, put as many Hot Wheels out there as you can into the universe, and hopefully it'll reward you with some supers down the road. So I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!